iScrappers, this is Tom from the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2019. While we are doing a pre-recorded episode due to a prior engagement this afternoon, we will be answering your questions regularly. So if you're posting them during this video or you're posting them after you watch it, make sure you know that if we don't answer them, other scrappers seem to be answering them before we do, but we'll make sure to get you an answer within a day or two, because a lot of questions sometimes are easy answers, sometimes take a little research, but we'll do our absolute best. For those of you who are Catholic and celebrate Easter, we wish you all a very happy Easter coming this weekend. We have our thoughts and prayers are with the Notre Dame Cathedral. It's almost a crazy thing to see what happened in France last couple of days. It's such a travesty to see such a beautiful structure that kind of burn itself to the ground. Fortunately, they were able to keep a lot of the relics, and a lot of the historical artifacts did not get damaged because they had moved a lot of them out of the area that was being worked on. But nonetheless, we wish all you a happy Easter, and we hope that everyone's doing well. So, what else has been going on? Steel prices relatively down. Not a really great thing to see, but we've been watching them and we've been asking a lot of people what's going on. So the steel turning market has not rebounded lately. We've seen that market continually being decreased. We've seen the light iron market dropping about $25 per ton, and all other grades of steel also dropping about $25, $30 per ton over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Now, we've talked to many industry experts, and we talked to people who got together out in Los Angeles last week for the ISRI convention. We talked to people who have just more knowledge than we do in the steel industry and asked them what's going on. Not only is the demand there, which is a positive thing, the problem is there is such demand, there's so much material that is flowing right now that a lot of the local domestic mills and furnaces are at full capacity, if not over capacity. So what does that mean? That means that all of these different furnaces are buying material, it's getting delivered into their facility, it's getting dumped on the ground, and they are essentially a large scrap collector. So outside, they only have so much room to pile material up. They can only go so high, so wide, and so deep. So with a constraint on space and so much material coming in, they've maximized the area that they can use to store the scrap that's going to be remelted and repurposed into new product. So while that's a good problem to have if you're a steel smelter, because you're going to be able to buy material cheaper, it's certainly not a good problem to have if you're a scrapper or a scrap yard, as we like to see the prices higher rather than lower. Now, it could be a good thing for scrapyard owners because they're spending less money, and most scrapyard owners that I know keep the same profit margin regardless of what the steel prices are doing, because they have overhead to maintain regardless of where the prices are. Labor prices don't go down 30% while the steel prices go down 30%, so they need to have the same margin, so it kind of is what it is. So they're just spending less money, making the same amount, but sometimes they'll be making less because now less material is going to be coming in. Now, we've read on our forums page before people saying, oh, let's all band together and hold our steel so these scrap yards have to pay us more. And while in theory that's really great, you would have a lot of phone calls, emails, tweets, Instagram posts, and carrier pigeons to send out with that message to the tens of thousands of scrappers across the US and Canada that are scrapping daily. So that doesn't seem to be a very good response. You would have a much better chance of having all of the major scrap yards in the US say that they are not going to sell any of their material. But as many of them have investors and bills to pay for as well, they do not plan on stopping and hoarding their material, as I've heard others suggest. So what's going to happen? Well, the volumes are eventually going to decrease at these mills and these furnaces. The question is when. So while they might be at maximum capacity, many of them have already sold additional capacity to future contracts. So what does that mean? That means scrap yards say, hey, we'd like to sell you, ABC Steel Mill, 500 tons of P&S scrap in the next month. They take out an order for $300 per ton, or whatever the number may be, I'm making these up, and they have 30 days to fulfill 500 tons to that mill. So what's going to happen when the mill says, stop, put your brakes on, we don't have room to take your material into our yard right now, so why don't you hold on to it until we're ready for you? Now in theory you'd say, okay, that's great for the scrapyard, they can buy material cheaper, but where the heck are they going to put 500 tons of P&S that they were supposed to be moving over a 30-day period? So what's going to happen is they're going to have to sell it at cheaper prices if they do not have the space to other vendors, and then they're going to have to wait for the mills or the furnaces to open up and then start delivering material again. So these are not easy things to deal with, especially when you have a daily, weekly, or monthly flow that you need to keep moving, and when a wrench gets thrown into your flow, you have to figure out how to divert different assets, move different materials, and figure out where things are going to go moving forward. That's one of the problems and issues happening with the steel right now, so it's just one thing to keep in mind. So many of you have been using our scrap metal recycling forum through our Facebook page, and we've seen thousands of people requesting to join. We see so many, hundreds, thousands of comments during the week, likes, tweets, likes, loves, dislikes, comments, posts, ideas. So don't forget one thing, we do filter and monitor that often. So if you're looking to sell material on there or anything like that, we will be deleting you because that's not what this page is meant for. It's not meant to be an open forum so you could advertise your material to the highest bidder. And if you are one of those highest bidders that's advertising themselves, you will also be deleted. Buyer beware. Literally pun intended. So, on the non-ferrous side of things, copper has remained relatively stable over the last week. Yes, we did see it drop about 5 or 6 cents a pound, but at the end of last week, we saw it roar back to going back to the prices that it started the week at. Positive sign, but people still are looking toward the Chinese and the U.S. negotiations. And while we don't have any updates for you this week because there hasn't been much to talk about, we are closely monitoring it because we have a vested interest, not only as a scrapyard ourselves, but also as people who are interested in what the market is doing and relaying information to you, the scrapper, as well. So know that we're looking into this, we're watching this, and we have our ear to the ground, looking to hear any of the scrap rumblings that are going on. Now, one metal that everyone loves to find, but rarely does, would be gold, other than in little circuit boards and different electronics. But it has been a metal that has not seen much love in 2019, with the prices down 4 or 5% this year. With many investors relying on other mediums to make money, such as investing in the stock market or different commodities, the gold prices have suffered as they have not been as strong as they were a few months ago. So with the gold prices down, the electronic market decreasing, we're just looking at it overall and saying, well, these prices are going to be going down, and it doesn't look like they're going to be rebounding, but this may be a good thing because that means the economy is rolling, jobs are being created, people are continuing to work, and investors have confidence in not only the U.S. domestic market, but also the world economy as a whole. Yes, there are many countries that are having tough times, and with tough times are going to have more problems, but overall the market has been relatively strong over the last 12 to 16 months. Going forward into the rest of 2019, many investors are predicting that some of the interest rates are going to be going down by the next Fed announcement. If that happens, you could see lower interest rates on mortgages, you could see people refinancing or buying houses for the first time, and this could be a positive sign for the economy and hopefully keeps rolling moving forward. But the metal prices have been depressed because there's been so many other investment opportunities, there's been so much material being produced, and of course we have that little bug flying around us of the U.S. and Chinese negotiations that we just can't snap up yet. So we're watching it as closely as we can and hoping that it'll rebound itself, because not only has copper unfortunately struggled, and the aluminum market as well, we've seen multiple other markets such as stainless steel and nickel alloys getting hit in the same respect. Guys, this is Tom from the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2019. We wish you and yours a very happy Easter. Until next week, I'll scrap you later.